Good morning. I'm Shama Ramani and I'm here to speak about India. Now, transition to the circular economy is absolutely key for Indian economic development and growth. This has been recognized by the country's national missions. They're embedded in at least 8 of them that come under the umbrella of National Climate Action. Besides that, it's also embedded in the transport missions. So all of them deal with transitions to sustainability in construction, agriculture, transport, and habitats. So there are many good examples of circular economy, uh, and some of them, like this building here, they cost a lot of money, but they are completely zero emissions. They work on solar. They have their own sewage treatment plants. And this is been recognized as a model building, though I would like some more trees. Then in the city of Chennai, the smart bike system is being tried out, and people are getting into the idea of riding a bike, though Indian roads congested with traffic and without anybody following traffic rules, it's quite an adventure. The most visible in India in the transition are the social entrepreneurs, and there are plenty of them in every state. Here is one who won the Commonwealth Prize. He is taking excess food from marriages, and through a platform that he's created with friends, he is delivering it to the hot spots where they need food. So he is actually transporting excess food from those who have it to those who need it. So this is it. Now, there are many opportunities. Well, considering the current pandemic, there are two especially. The first opportunity is that it shows what a sustainability transition would look like. Our rivers are much cleaner. The blue of the sky can be seen for the first time in many cities. The stars even can be seen as before. So, because of the lockdown for more than 3 weeks, then the other opportunity is it shows what would happen if there is a shared vision and a shared responsibility and an accountability, because this is what is needed for the transition to circular economy. The major risk is that we still have not lack of institutions, as the economic textbooks would say, for developing or emerging countries, but the other problem, too many institutions all operating as silos, so that it becomes very complex and there is not much scope for dialogue. Let me give a simple example we are dealing with. There is a company which wants to treat its wastewater, which is just beyond the city. There's a sewage plant a couple of kilometers away, and it has to put tubes running through a farmer's land. Now, to do this, it has to engage with the local municipality, with perhaps other independent government bodies set up to monitor water usage and wastewater treatment, the owner of the land. And presently, though all these boards exist and regulations exist, there is not enough thought given to conflict resolution. Who is accountable? Who will pay? How will we share costs? So because of such lacunes, a lot of problems remain unsolved. The other big risk in the country is that of a sense of entitlement, that anyone can litter anywhere they want and the state has to hire people to pick up the litter. First, no state has enough funds for one portion of its citizenry to pick up the garbage after another. Besides that, this is a very bad attitude and not socially just. Therefore, we need to change these attitudes by building better social capabilities, though there are fines in India, in most places now, still indiscriminate littering in both village and town is a norm. So unless this sense of shared responsibility comes for segregation of waste at the source, any transition with any national mission will be impossible. So the solution lies, the power is within our hands. Thank you